Well, good afternoon, YouTube. It's still Saturday, April 1st, and I just got done shooting a video. It'll probably be loaded up before this one, if not after this one. But I'm over here at Julia Randall Elementary School, and I just did a video about the old rock building over here. And if you haven't watched that, take a look at it. But right now, let me get around and I can talk to you. So this afternoon, I want to talk a little bit more about the Bigfoot subject and a little adventure that we had last summer. Now, we go to a place that we've nicknamed Hilltop, that where we know the Sasquatch family that lives there, and we've known them for a number of years now, and they know who we are, and they know we're not a threat to them, and they've pretty much opened up to us in many cases. Now, I've said before that they're not a violent species. We've sat out in the dark many times. You hear people talk about them, about being big hairy monsters and all this kind of stuff. Well, if they wanted to do us harm, they could have done us harm many, many times. And I think before I go any further, as I always say, if you haven't done it yet and you want to understand where I'm coming from, so I'm not so far out in left field, go back in my playlist and look for Bigfoot Stuff number 1 through Bigfoot Stuff number 7. And this is not going to be number 8, but I am going to tell a little story here. But Bigfoot 8's coming. But anyway, last summer we were meeting with the Sasquatch family that's up there, and the matriarch of the family, and if you've watched my other Bigfoot videos, you've heard me talk about her before. Her name is Eadengen, and we don't know for sure how old she is. We estimate that she's probably over 200 years old. She's pretty large. She's in the 11-foot range, and I've seen her a number of times, but I've always seen her in shimmering image form. I had never seen her in what we call full solid form, or what they call full solid form as well. But my partner Kevin he's a little bit farther down the road than I am as far as the getting accepted by them. He's spent quite a bit more time out with them than I have. He's probably spent 3 times as much time as I have over the last 6 years that he and I have been working together. But they had kind of an interesting ceremony last summer and he was kind of accepted into their family. And I think that's probably pretty rare, and I think it's probably pretty special. Well, we were up meeting with them. This wasn't the same trip that happened. This was a later trip. But we were up there, and they imparted some knowledge to Kevin. And what they do is they'll give you what they term as a knowledge drop. We call them knowledge bombs at one point, and they don't like the term bombs, so they call them knowledge drops. And the knowledge drop can either occur when you're awake or when you're asleep or whatever. And there's been times when, I went to bed not knowing something, and I woke up the next morning knowing it, but not knowing how I knew it. And after a while, we realized that that's just something they do. And well, Kevin had received a pretty significant knowledge drop, and to the point where it actually took him off his feet, and he was on his hands and knees for a little bit, and then when they released him, he came back and sat down, and it was like, whoa, what was that? But one of the things they've told me, and I'm very inquisitive, and I really, really want to learn about them, and I want to understand them. And as a result, I ask a lot of questions. And I've been told to be patient. I've been told that I'm too pushy. And so I try not to be, but I couldn't. That night when they did that to him, I couldn't really help myself. And so I asked him, I said, can you do the same thing to me? Well, the short answer is they apparently didn't think I was ready. And I got punished that night for that. And a lot like a little kid being sent to the woodshed. And let me tell you what happened. It was a little while after that whole thing. It was time to go to bed. Now, what they do sometimes they'll come right out and they'll tell us to go to bed, literally. But a lot of times what they do is they'll make us all tired and cold at the same time, and they can do that. They know how, and we've learned that sometimes that's their way of saying that it's time for us to go to bed. Now, those of you that watch some of the other Bigfoot stuff, you don't have to be wandering around in the middle of the wilderness at 2 in the morning and in order to have interaction. I mean, normally they're by 10 o'clock they're done with us, and so it's very seldom that we're up later than 10. Once in a while they'll be, they call the shots. It's up to them, but every once in a while they'll keep us up later. But likely as not, it's around 10 o'clock and it's time to go to bed. Well, that's what happened that night. So I went to bed in my van. I'm sitting in my van right now, as you know. But I went to bed and I could not get warm. I was freezing. I was freezing to the point that I was shivering. My teeth were chattering. Now, this is summertime. It's not that cold. I've got plenty of covers on. There's no reason for me to be cold. But I am absolutely freezing. Well, I knew that they were doing that to me, and I knew that they were probably punishing me for being too pushy and asking too many questions and not letting them decide when I can know what they want me eventually to know. And so anyway, I kind of knew that was happening, but it happened all night. I couldn't hardly get to sleep. I was freezing cold. I was trying to get in a different position. And nothing worked. Well, that went on. I catnapped a little bit in spite of it all, but I was just cold. And about 4 o'clock in the morning, all of a sudden that stopped, and Aiden gave me a visual of herself. It was like a TV screen visual. I talked about that in one of my other videos. But she gave me a TV screen visual. She was standing above me, looking down at me. I could clearly see her face and her facial features. It didn't last very long, but what the message that I was getting was, "Don't mess with me, boy, or I'll do that again." To describe what she looked like, a lot of the forest people or the Sasquatch people that we've dealt with, their facial features are very, very human-like. And her facial features, very, very human-like, very Native American-looking, almost a little bit Eskimo-like. She didn't have any hair on her face. Like I say, she basically looked like a human. All I could see was from about the shoulders up, and she's pretty large. She doesn't have the large mass that some of the males do. She's fairly thin. But one thing I did notice is that her hair, and from the best I could tell, it was kind of the dimly lit image, and maybe even kind of in black and white. But her hair was gray, and in order to sit on her shoulders, her hair came out from the top of her head, kind of at a 45-degree angle. But she kind of sent me to the woodshed. She told me that I need to be patient, and I shouldn't be pushy, and that my time will come. And I believe her. I trust the Sasquatch people 100%. But that was a little interesting story that happened last summer. We've had a long, cold winter. We've talked about that, and I'm really looking forward to getting back out again and visiting with our Sasquatch people friends again. And I think it's going to be a pretty exciting summer. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out for now. Once again, as I always tell you, love each other, take care of each other. Take care of yourself. You're the only body you got. And we'll talk to you again real soon. So for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and move this around where I can find a button. And I'm just going to tell you peace out.